Allez, OMG, 1 minute. C'est maintenant. Ok, je suis peut-être un peu hype, Login.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games. And today we're here to showcase a new expansion for PoE 1. It's certainly been too long since we had one of these. Now we had some struggles as a studio for a little while there, but we've got our shit together and we're back in action now. Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas is coming out 1 week from now on the 13th of June. And we're committing right now to a 4-month cycle for both PoE 1 and 2. That means the next PoE 2 league will be in August, and the next PoE 1 league after that will be in October.
Il a commencé le patch PoE 1
Push
par
drops are
PoE 2.
enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Skull of Undeath helmet skin by following the instructions below. This Skull of Undeath will track and show your total number of kills, deaths, and your KDR. Just because Path of Exile isn't a first-person shooter doesn't mean this isn't important. Proudly or shamefully, link it to your friends or in global chat to show it off. And with that, let's get to why you're here. Secrets of the Atlas.
You can search 1,000 worlds and still never truly discover who you are. Trust me. I should know. But now, I seek something more tangible. Someone I care for.
C'est magnifique.
In the Atlas. Reliving memories. Made real.
What have you done?
Made grotesque. Made foul. These manifestations must be destroyed. Their threads must be eradicated. I must have answers. We must find the originator. We must save my sister.
Zana corrupted!
Her power is an illusion made real.
You craft! Ah, vas-y, ça y est.
Come, child.
Non, j'ai vu à plusieurs levels. Betrayal rework.
You're either a client or a target.
Les mercenaires.
Job's done.
Attends, quoi? Beau build is back. Beau build.
Your sanity
Beau
is
build
not
is back.
promised to you here.
Beau build is back. Aura.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, game director
Oh, le
on
go
Path
t'es
of
là.
Exile.
Yes, putain, yes.
As you just saw from the trailer, there's a lot to show you.
Merci.
Today, we will take you on a deep dive into the new Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas in-game update. Then, we'll explore the new Challenge League, the Mercenaries of Trathus.
Ok.
After that, we'll cover the integration of gold into PoE 1 and how we're bringing Settlers of Kalgur into the core game.
Ok.
Finally, we have a much-awaited upgrade to Betrayal League and a set of quality of life improvements.
Ok.
Then we'll wrap up by
Attends, mais
discussing our
j'aime pas
boss
le
kill
fait
race
que
event,
la ligue ça soit juste une
showing
ligne
you
là,
our new
j'aime pas.
supporter packs, and ending with a live Q&A
J'aime pas.
session where Ziggy D will ask Jonathan and I your questions
Oh,
from
je
Twitch
vous jure
chat.
qu'ils ont intérêt à faire.
In Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas, strange rifts have begun to appear across the Atlas.
Ok.
Zana has returned and appears to be trapped within.
Ok.
Partway through the endgame,
Il faut aller
you will
sauver Zana,
meet
ma femme.
Egan, an intelligent man of mysterious heritage. These tears in reality he has discovered are actually threads of memory, distorted and made real by the Atlas. Egan is able to create a link to these memory threads and open portals to them.
Les portails sont
Working
incroyables.
with Egan, you must step through and find Zana, or whatever remains of her.
Les mémoires de Zana.
Okay, so that's the story background, but how does this expansion actually work? In the Secrets of the Atlas, the pursuit of Zana with Egon is a new storyline
J'ai peur.
that is introduced in high-tier maps. Upon meeting Egan and discovering the tier, he will then transfer it to your map device and reveal this on your atlas, a thread of memories. In order to now access each map on the thread, You simply need to talk to Egan when
Oh,
you're
ils vont me
ready,
forcer à faire des maps
and
de
he'll open
merde.
the areas in sequence. These areas can be fully influenced by your Atlas tree, scarabs, fragments, and everything of the sort. As you work your way along the thread, you will discover that these maps have manifested dangerous threats, influenced by the memories of Zana herself. Monsters here are imbued with memory petals. Defeat them to absorb this power, which can be unleashed as a special ability during combat.
Oh, y a pas de
Different
bonus
maps
de
on the
loot.
thread have different abilities, and these abilities appear on an additional mini skill bar next to your regular skills. For example,
Ok, non,
memory
j'ai
of
vu des trucs de bonus
disbelief
de
will
loot.
cause all
J'ai vu des
affected
trucs de bonus
monsters
de
to
loot.
stop dropping equipment items.
Ok, j'ai vu des
meaning
trucs de
they can
bonus de
now
loot.
only drop more valuable
Ok, la
items,
conversion,
like
la conversion.
currency and maps. Memory of Panic will make all affected monsters revive immediately after death, which means you can get twice as much experience and drops from them.
Bon, enfin,
And
le double
Memory
des
of
drops, il a rien
Impatience will
drop.
cause all surrounding enemies to give you their souls, temporarily increasing your power.
Ok, ça c'est fort, ça
As
c'est
you
ultra
progress
fort.
further into the thread of memories, the maps can have more than one memory, and thus you can have more than one powerful ability. As you gather memory petals, you can use these powers together. Each skill costs its own amount of memory petals. So using the examples above, you can first use Memory of Impatience to become way more powerful, then use Memory of Panic to prepare them to revive when they are slain, then use Memory of Disbelief to cause them to drop better, more valuable items. Finally, obliterate them all.
Ok,
The Memory of
ok.
Panic will
Magic
kick
Find
in,
is back, Magic
causing
Find is
them
back.
to revive,
Magic Find
and
is
then
back.
wipe them out again, allowing you to get all the experience and enhanced drops twice.
Là,
There
ok,
are many
là on
combinations
parle.
of these powers, so you'll have
Là,
to
on parle.
carefully consider how they best work together. That's not the only extra layer of content juicing these maps offer. As you defeat the boss of each map along the thread, you are presented with an altar. This altar will apply a modifier to all following maps in the thread, and these will stack as you go. So the deeper you delve into a memory, the more mods you will
Square
have.
meta. Ça va encore
This,
être une square meta. Hein.
combined with the special abilities,
square meta?
will allow for some of the most juice maps ever run in Path of Exile. Let's take a look at some of the altar mods. You are always presented with two choices and must pick one.
Oh, we're so
This
back.
mod, for example, will cause
Oh,
some rare monsters to be possessed by
cooling.
tormented spirits. Where this mod makes Kerak modifiers free to craft. Both of these apply to all subsequent maps in the thread. The final map in each thread is a true challenge, with all the altar mods applying to it and guarded by a powerful boss. Each of these bosses are familiar, but dreamlike, drawn from Zana's memories and warped by the Atlas into
Non, par
something
contre,
very
l'aura
different
des boss
and
qui nous
terrifying.
sortent, c'est quelque chose. Hein.
In this map, you will fight the pinnacle boss, Cirrus. Fueled by Zana's affectionate memories of him, his enhanced abilities can prove to be a unique challenge.
Par contre, son dot build a l'air
If you
insane.
manage to defeat Cirrus, or one of the other warped memory bosses, they will drop a map fragment, which Egan can use to delve deeper into the memory tier.
OMG, OMG, des boss endgame qui drop encore
With
des map
these, you
fragments.
can access a set of 3 new pinnacle bosses. In this arena, the moment of reverence, Zana is reliving a memory of her father, Valdo, giving a passionate
Vas-y,
speech in
Je
Ori.
vais pas dire, hein, mais ça
The
ressemble
Atlas
quand
distorts
même
this memory of
à...
her father as a powerful, influential man and manifests those emotions into a twisted nightmare, the incarnation of dread. Another memory created is the incarnation of neglect and the incarnation of fear. Good luck, exiles.
Le design des boss est
Of
PO2
course,
tiers. Genre tu
If
sens
you are
l'expérience
brave
de
and
PO2.
strong enough to
De
defeat
PO2, je veux
them,
dire.
each of these new pinnacle bosses have new unique items befitting them.
Oh putain, oui.
If you slay the incarnation of fear, you might be lucky enough to find the Star Caller unique abyssal axe. We're gonna show this one because it's straight up badass. The Star Caller axe is a weapon that can harness the power of the stars themselves to deal immense damage. What makes it shine, however, is that on melee crit, it casts
Il avait 50% de
Starfall,
fizz as
a new
extra
skill.
élémental by the
With
way.
the right build, You
Sachant
can
qu'il avait
carpet
300
entire
flat, hein, en
areas
phys.
and wipe out screens of enemies as you rain down the elements upon them.
Les stats étaient lunaires.
Another item you may find, and this one is my favorite, is the Wine of the Prophet unique flask. It consumes a lot of charges.
Login.
but every time
Rarity
you
of
use
items.
it, you
Rarity of
draw a
items.
random divination card.
J'ai juste à voir ça.
This card appears above you and correlates to a powerful buff.
C'est tout ce que je veux voir.
The
C'est tout
escape
ce que je veux voir.
card, you'll gain
Login.
increased movement speed. Or maybe you'll draw the Doctor, which will cause you to gain the modifiers of slain rares you
Mais oui. Mais donne-moi le
Effectively,
docteur et j'ai une
you can think
Edenter
of
sans
this unique as
Edenter.
being many other uniques all in one. There are many cards to draw, each with varying degrees of power to grant.
Oh.
Okay,
La
let's
flasque de
get back to
taré.
the Atlas.
On dirait
After
Caflip.
defeating all 3 new pinnacle bosses, you'll be able to find new memory-influenced Tier 16 maps.
Ok.
These maps come with the previously mentioned special abilities
Ok, c'est les
and
T17.
monsters infused with memory pedals, but can also roll the same modifiers typically found on Tier 17 maps,
Ouais, j'ai capté.
making them far more rewarding. With all these new memory maps comes a new item mechanic. Items in these maps can drop with memory strands, and will have a random amount, up to 100.
Ok, new craft.
This does a few things.
Login.
When you identify the item, it will increase the tiers of modifiers your item has. Generally speaking, the more memory strands, the better the item will be. On top of this, whenever you're crafting that item using currency orbs to replace or add modifiers, such as alterations, chaos, and so forth, it will consume some memory strands to make the crafted mods more powerful. The new pinnacle bosses also drop new crafting currencies, which can be used to manipulate the amount of memory strands on an item. The Orb of Remembrance will let you add memory strands to any normal equipment. So if you have your perfect base to craft on, and it doesn't already have memory strands, you can add
Docteur,
some
j'ai un
before
problème.
crafting it.
J'ai le Bengala bien trop dur
The
pour aller
Orb
me
of
coucher.
Unraveling will
Internet me
consume
dit que
all
c'est les signes
remaining memory
avant-coureurs
strands on
d'une
an
addiction.
item to randomly upgrade its mod tiers. This orb's effectiveness is based on the number of memory strands it consumes. The Orb of Intention can be used on memory influence maps to reduce item drops, but improve the chance to find items with memory strands. In the process of adding these new currency items, we
Je pense que c'est de la
realized
merde,
something was
non, c'est pas
missing. The Shaper
Tel je me gourre.
and the Elder
Parce que tu
did
peux
not
peut-être
have their
min-max,
own
mais-
Exalted Orbs. This has now been rectified. Both bosses now have Exalted Orbs, which can add their influence to an item. Zana was there from the beginning, when the Shaper Pinnacle fight was first added. She helped defeat the Elder, and she was a critical part of the Conqueror's storyline. Now, with all 6 influence types having their own Exalted Orbs, the cycle is complete. It's almost as if we could now do some sort of new, epic, unique item to interact with them.
Non.
In other news,
No.
there of course has to be Atlas passive tree support for this new endgame content. Let's take a look at a few things we're adding. The Grasp the Past notable passive skill increases the chance for the amount of
Dinguerie,
memory
dinguerie.
strands on
Instantanément,
items dropped in
je
your
vois que c'est une
memory
dinguerie.
influence maps to be lucky.
Instantanément, dinguerie.
This means it will roll the number of memory strands twice, keeping the highest value. By allocating traumatic experience, remembered kindness, or educated upbringing, you'll decrease the chance of finding memory threads that lead to specific bosses, meaning you'll have better chances at finding the memory threads you would like to run.
Mais oui, parce que chaque boss
This is
correspond à un
especially
truc.
useful if you
Genre
want to
Quantity,
target farm a
etc.
specific boss because of its unique item drops.
Ouais, voilà, aussi.
In sum, the secrets of the Atlas will have you questioning what is real as you attempt to free Zana from warped memories scattered throughout the Atlas. You'll fight new Guardian and Pinnacle bosses tormenting her, find crazy new Pinnacle uniques, combine and unleash memory petal empowered skills, juice maps to new heights, and craft powerful
C'est
new
quoi son
items.
spell? Je comprends pas.
While we were showing all the juicy rewards from the new endgame system, you might have noticed that a lot of gold was dropping. Let's talk about that.
Ah,
Gold was
ils ont
introduced
mis
during the Settlers of Calgary expansion. It
Je
funded
vais-
the development and
Le
operations of
recombinateur est pas
Kingsmarch,
parti.
along with various new features such as the currency exchange, the black market, and the passive respec system with Faustus.
Ça, c'est juste un énorme orgueur, ça. Ça, pour le coup, c'est big.
Those features offered by Faustus will be here to stay, along with some of the other services Kingsmarch has to offer. We'll get more into that later, but don't worry. Kingsmarch has already been completed.
Ok,
There will be no more town building.
Oh, let's fucking
Like
go.
before, gold will be used for town services, but we're also adding a new way to use it in the upcoming league. It's time to talk about Mercenaries of
Putain,
Trathus.
enfin la mécanique de ligue. Ok.
In this league, you will meet veterans who have travelled all the way from the lawless cities of Trathus. They're ready to offer their sinister services, but not for free. You will encounter these mercenaries as you journey through Rayclast, one in each area. They have their own personalities and come with different builds, skills, and items already equipped. After meeting
C'est un
them,
Norabot, lui,
as
je viens de
per
voir,
the
il avait
Trathan
Alpha
code,
Zaul.
they will challenge you to a duel, a test of strength and conviction. Before beginning the duel, you will be offered an overview of the mercenary you've encountered. Here, you can see the gear they have equipped, the skills they employ, and any support
Attends, mais on a
effects
PVP
augmenting
dans
those
PoE
skills.
avant GTA 6?
You must now make a choice. You can hire their services, take one of their items, or exile them. If you choose to hire them, for a gold cost, they will accompany you as a skilled combatant to assist you in fighting monsters throughout Rayclast.
Mais ça coûte beaucoup
Once
de
you've
gold.
decided, you can begin the duel. This is a great opportunity to test them, as you don't want to be out of pocket with a useless rookie. However, they're testing you too. They also don't want to be working for an amateur.
Il joue
So,
les mental hit by the way.
What items might they be using? Generally speaking, mercenary gear is more powerful than what you'd normally find from defeating monsters, as they've been crafting
Putain,
their
quand même.
items too.
Putain, quand même. Oh.
They can also come equipped with unique items, those that would make sense for the skills they are using.
OMG, le mercenaire
There are
avec la
even some
Dunter.
new unique items that can only be obtained from defeating them. One such unique is Scornflux. These boots combine agility with the mastery of the arcane. While equipped, increases to cast speed from Arcane Surge also apply to movement speed,
Énorme banger.
which is worth noting
Énorme
is now
banger.
20% inherently
J'ai
from
jamais vu des
Arcane
bots
Surge,
pareils.
up from 10. They also grant Arcane Surge when you use a movement skill.
Non mais c'est
This
n'importe quoi.
allows for some speedy spellcasting.
Les bots sont insane.
Sometimes you may meet particularly infamous Trathan mercenaries, bearing the name of their house.
La mousse speed qui se
These
sur ta
mercenaries
casse
descend
speed,
from
c'est
the
lunaire.
4 major death trade families in Trathus.
Zero mousse
They
speed
are
de
less
base,
common,
c'est Osef,
but have
t'as tout le
far
temps
better items.
80 casse speed
And
plus
they are also
minimum.
the sole source of items with new, infamous modifiers, unseen before in Rayclast, such as these gloves, which convert all of your minions' fire damage to chaos damage. Or this helmet, which causes nearby enemies to take more physical damage as you gain more fortification. If you're not swayed by any of their equipped
Hold
gear,
up.
however,
Les
you
Zorabots?
can always challenge them for the contents of their pockets. If you lose the duel, don't worry. You don't need to give them an item.
OMG, le
You
mercenaire avec un
aren't
miroir.
bound to Trathan
Le
tradition like
mercenaire
that.
Mage Blood miroir.
However, you are bound to Rayclast tradition, so you'll just die.
Almost at me. Well, not really.
While playing in a party, each player can decide whether or not they want to participate in combat against the mercenary. For each player that opts in, the mercenary gets more difficult. But if they're defeated, each player has a 50% chance to get a random reward, which is usually currency items from the mercenary's pouch.
Login. Login. Group plays back. Login.
Alternatively, party members that opt out of the fight can spectate and cheer you on. Or they might wish for your demise, so they can pick up that allocated divine waiting off screen.
Dead. Good.
Let's say you won the duel, like their items, and have decided to hire them.
Smells like home here.
What combat skills do they bring to the table?
Bisous la team, petit badge 4
Each
ans.
mercenary has an archetype. Here, this mercenary is an eruptor, which perfectly couples with my slower, more aura-focused scion.
Aura.
This mercenary is highly aggressive, and will get a lot of benefit from the auras and buffs I provided.
Attends, mais tu peux aura.
When I'm playing a more aggressive character
Tu peux
myself,
aura bot
though,
un mercenaire.
I want a mercenary with a bit more resilience and utility. I've just run into a striker, who can spawn with Vigilant Strike.
Tu peux
And
aura
if you're
bot tout seul,
lucky,
c'est trop bien.
a very rare golden support that causes the fortify granted by his Vigilant Strike to apply to me as well. He will also frequently use Enduring Cry, taunting enemies off of me, and operating as a tanky frontline while I blitz off damage from the back.
Login. Magic Find is back.
Sometimes when you fight a
Compte
mercenary,
bot en
you may
solo.
notice the skills they're using are different from normal. For example, this sniper is using a Trathan version of Siege Ballista. If you're lucky, you will be able to select it as your reward when challenging them. Then defeat them, and they'll drop the Trathan gem as promised. You can only have one mercenary accompanying you at a time, but up to 3 total in your service. The other 2 will wait patiently in town. Having varied options is useful, as there may be situations where you need specific backup, like a difficult boss fight. Any of your mercenaries you have active, or in your reserves, can have their equipment replaced with items of your choosing. They don't level up, so you will want to be looking out for more skilled and more powerful mercenaries as you advance through the campaign and endgame. If your mercenary falls in combat, you will need to return to town and spend some gold on healing supplies to get them back on their feet. Then perhaps consider giving them some upgrades.
Mais tu peux vraiment te craft un aura bot?
I just wanted to clarify, mercenaries do not lose their equipment when defeated.
Ouais, voilà, c'est le plus important.
If your merc buddy consistently fails you, you can just dismiss them and find a new, more resilient ally.
Mais attends, la tech, tu fais mercenaire, animé de guardian, et t'as plus besoin de gameplay en fait.
Earlier, I mentioned you could exile mercenaries. If you keep running into a mercenary archetype and you think, man, this guy stinks, their gear is trash and they have no auras, you can then choose to exile them. If you win the duel, they'll be forced to leave with their tail between their legs, and you won't encounter that archetype again for a while. Now, alongside these new Trathan arrivals, we shouldn't forget about the recent Kalguran ones too. As we mentioned earlier, the Settlers update introduced gold-based respeccing of passive points. You can now do so by talking to a number of NPCs throughout Rayclast, starting with Bestil and Lionized Watch.
Oh, mais vous savez que ça c'est une
Black
dinguerie
market
par
item
contre.
gambling, previously just available in King's March, is now available in each town at the same NPC. This lets you buy randomly generated item bases for gold. Very useful if you're stuck for upgrades or searching for a specific unique. The currency exchange will be returning too. Starting from Lionized Watch in Act 6, you'll be able to find Faustus, who can help facilitate these trades.
Wow, dès le niveau 6, il y a le trade.
Now, after almost a year of building, Johan is finally satisfied with the upgrades made to the town, and now its services can be used to their full effect. King's March is going core, but there will be no more town building.
Ça veut dire quoi alors?
As you start running maps in the endgame, you'll start to find different ore veins, which Kalguran workers can mine for you. The shipping mechanic invites you to send these ores and crops to Karui and Kalguran ports, and they'll return rewards in kind.
Oh, vas-y.
By sending shipments, you'll receive different items. But by sending to Karui ports, you will also receive tattoos, which can be used on your passive tree to change what stats they grant. The Kalguran ports will be sending back rune grafts, which is a new passive tree mechanic that replaces the runesmithing service previously offered by the town.
Quoi?
These are similar to tattoos, but instead of replacing stat nodes, they replace a passive tree mastery node. For example, Runegraft of the Bound reduces bonuses gained from boots, but increases bonuses gained from gloves. Runegraft of the River has a chance to recover your life to full if you reach low life. And the Runegraft of Time, which has a chance for your cooldown skills to instantly recover from their cooldown, which I will note includes cooldowns on your triggers, just in case you wanted to trigger even more spells. There are many other Runegrafts which cover a wide range of different builds and stats. Some are more common,
10% réduce attribute, 40% increase global
you can
défense.
only use
Ah ouais,
one of
ok,
a
j'ai
given
un
type at a time, but you can use them on any mastery on your passive tree, which can be particularly useful for off-class investment.
Le global defense,
Isla has continued to make modifications to the Recombinator.
Non, c'est chill.
She has developed a new
Ouais,
method of
l'énergie shield,
recombination
c'était pas assez
that you may
fort, hein.
recognize from Path of Exile 2. For those unfamiliar, this method allows you to decide which modifiers on the 2 input items you want to try and merge
au moins il
together,
le change.
and it has a success chance you can see.
Ah, mais c'est de la merde.
This method can result in the items being destroyed, However, it is a good option to use when
Ouais,
trying
ça
to
fait
create
de la merde,
items
le récombe
with
est
fewer
fini.
mods to use as crafting projects.
Mais ouais, mais ça arrive jamais. Le pourcentage de
Given
chance
the
d'avoir 2
existing
tiers 1,
recombinating
autant
mechanic
alt
was very
spam.
powerful for top-end crafting, we didn't want to remove it. We have kept it, and you can now choose to use it the old way or the new way. By letting fate decide,
tu peux
it
faire
will
les
combine
deux?
the two items randomly. There is no risk of destroying either item, but it will be less predictable.
Ok. Tu peux choisir la manière dont tu recombes.
As Settlers is now a core mechanic, we've
Ah ouais,
also
non, je suis pas
added
d'accord.
Atlas passive tree support. For example, if you wanted to gather more Verisium ore, you could take this notable. Each ore has a similar node.
Oh, mais on s'en bat un peu les couilles, non? Non!
Refiner's Bargain converts
Oh.
items dropped by possessed monsters into thaumaturgic dust, sulfite into random ores, and life force into random crops. We've also added a set of Kalguran scarabs, so you can add more ore deposits, increase the rarity of
Ah, mais
monsters
vas-y,
that guard ore deposits to at least magic, or gather smelted bars from ore you mark instead of ores. To sum it all up, Kingsmarch is now a thriving town where you can employ a swath of workers to collect resources,
Ok, il y a un
refine
monde où
ores,
ça buff énormément les
craft
bateaux. Du coup.
items, and run maps for you. Send shipments of resources in exchange for tattoos and rune grafts, using those to modify your passive tree to an extent never seen before. Following on from that, we've also made a substantial rework to another important mechanic.
Il y a un monde où ça buff de zinzin le fait qu'il y ait
As a refresher,
des
and
minerais
to
partout.
explain to new players, let's briefly explain what Betrayal is. Betrayal is a mechanic introduced in Act 9 and tells the story of Jun Ortoi and her investigation of the Immortal Syndicate. This is a mysterious group of exiles who can seemingly come back from death. You must help Jun to uncover their leader, the Syndicate Mastermind.
Katarina.
The Immortal Syndicate is organized into 4 divisions: transportation, fortification, research,
C'est tellement
and
complexe,
intervention.
c'est tellement complexe, heureusement qu'ils
As
l'ont
you
rework. Hein.
encounter the Immortal Syndicate members, you'll gain intelligence for each of these divisions to discover the location of their leaders.
C'est la 3e fois qu'on voit le
tracking them
build
to their
Elemental
safe
Hit.
houses. Defeating the division leaders at their safe houses will reward you with intelligence on the Syndicate Mastermind.
Est-ce que ça veut dire que les veils chaos
In
vont
your
être
journey
plus
to track
accessibles?
down the Syndicate leader, you'll manipulate the members of the Immortal Syndicate to change divisions, form friendships and rivalries, and even banish them from the Syndicate for a time. Historically, after encountering and defeating the
Elles sont de
Syndicate
retour, je sais,
Mastermind,
mais il
the
fallait
state of the
pouvoir les
Immortal
farm.
Syndicate would reset, requiring you to start from the beginning of the investigation again. This has always been a difficult decision for players and can often feel bad. Do you fight the Mastermind for a chance at the special loot, or keep farming the safe houses that you've spent so long setting up? Well, in the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've split out the Mastermind to be completely separate from the core mechanic.
Comment ça?
The boss is now accessible through a new fragment that has a chance to drop
Alléluia.
from the safe house leaders at high levels. The Mastermind no longer resets the state of the Immortal Syndicate.
C'est magnifique.
You can now build your betrayal board to your liking, optimize it, do Mastermind fights, and reap the rewards without having to lose all your progress every time.
C'est magnifique.
The boss
Le
fight
buff est
itself
lunaire.
has also been improved, now with significantly fewer immunity phases and new rewards. By the way,
Le buff de
if you're a
Syndicate est
new player
lunaire.
to Path of Exile 1, don't worry about all this detail. This content is optional, and you can discover and engage with it at your own pace. The Mastermind still has a chance to drop a Veiled Orb, now renamed to
Comment
Veiled
ça, Veil
Exalted.
d'Exalt?
Veiled Chaos Orbs are being re-added to other safe house leaders.
Attends, pause,
In
comment ça,
addition,
Veil
the
d'Exalt?
Mastermind now drops the new All Flame Embers.
Comment-
All Flame Embers are map fragments that replace
comment ça, All
monster
Flame?
packs in in-game maps with different types of special monsters. These packs have unusual properties, compositions, or rewards. For example, you might use the All Flame Ember of Kulamak, which replaces packs with Syndicate monsters and their leaders, who revive after the map boss has been slain. This might at first sound annoying due to backtracking, but these monsters when revived are far more intense and rewarding.
Mec, t'as ça, multiplié avec la
It
memory,
is our intention with All
multiplié
Flames
avec
to provide
Delirium.
many different types that combine with other mechanics, multiplying with your existing modifiers in new and interesting ways. Another good example of this is the All-Flame Ember of Propagation. When slain, special rare monsters added by this All-Flame here will spread their modifiers to other rare monsters in the
Le
map.
loot va être aussi con
This can be
qu'Affliction.
useful when trying to create singular, very powerful, and very rewarding monsters.
C'est la
Something
ligue.
akin to meat sacks,
C'est la ligue.
which are making a reinvented comeback with this update too.
We're so back. On est tellement de oh,
Another is the
on est
All-Flame
tellement de
Ember
retour.
of
Il avait
Resplendence,
7
which
lignes de
adds
mode.
monsters that drop no items. But when you slay them, you get buff stacks of increased quantity and rarity to
Oh là là,
enhance
il y a
the
le
drops of
ramping up
all
pour
other
Flame, il va
monsters.
coûter une blinde lui aussi.
All-Flame Embers can be placed in your map device like scarabs, and used in conjunction with scarabs to further customize your maps.
Oh là là.
We're
là
looking
là
forward
là.
to seeing which combinations players find to enhance their maps.
Oh là là, on va
Perhaps you'll
casser le
use
jeu
all
en deux.
scarabs, all flames, or maybe mix and match. It's up to you.
Faudra voir si
The
les All-Flame se
Mastermind's
stack
unique
surtout.
items have also been improved. The veiled modifiers generated on these items are now from a custom pool exclusive to those uniques. Bitter Bind Point, for example, can now have various Spectre-specific outcomes, such as
Mais attends, mais
plus
c'est
one
trop bien, ça, par
additional
contre.
Spectre. Aside from improved rewards from the Mastermind, all
Ah.
the safe house rewards have also been
Là,
rebalanced.
tu passes à 1 minute 30 de craft.
We've
au
done
lieu
a
de 10
pass on the crafting sprees at the end of many safe houses. For those who aren't aware how these crafting sprees work, well, it's simple. There's a crafting bench with an item in it, and a bunch of currency. There's a limited amount of time,
Putain,
and
les
your
currencies
only
sont bien
objective
maintenant.
is to craft the best item possible before the time ends. One of the
currencies sont bien
problems that the
maintenant.
crafting sprees have is that they often require
Betrayal
you
est
to have
insane
specific
maintenant, ouais.
items on hand.
Je pense que
in
la
order
thune
to
que tu fais
best
sur Betrayal est
maximize your result.
ridicule.
But how are you supposed to know that beforehand? In order to solve this, most of the crafting sprees now offer pre-generated items. This has also allowed us to add much more powerful crafting options in each spree.
Ouais, voilà.
Let's take a look at a few examples.
June est insane cette ligue.
In this spree,
La
a
thune doit
randomly
être
generated
lunaire.
amulet or ring will be waiting for you. Test your crafting skill
Attends,
or
même un
luck
mist.
with this reflecting mist
C'est
crafting
une
spree
dinguerie que t'aies un mist.
and see if you can create something worthy of Kalandra's praise. And in this spree, you will find a pre-generated unique item and a new kind of orb that resembles a Val orb, but not
Jean
quite the same.
touched Valorb.
Normally, you can only corrupt an item once, but uniques in this spree can be corrupted and re-corrupted as many times as there are orbs. This
Pardon?
orb also allows you to get 2 corrupted implicits and has a much lower chance to brick the item. It can be a very useful tool for seeking specific corrupted implicit outcomes. Of course, if you push your luck, you can still ruin the item. There are also crafting sprees where you still need to
Attends.
provide an item,
Mais
but
c'est
those
une
items
idée,
are generally
bien
more
broken.
accessible and it occurs less frequently. This one allows you to bring your own normal rarity item, then just go ballistic with a whole ton of scouring orbs and orbs of chance, hoping to get your ideal unique. For most sprees,
Oui, allez.
the
Mets
rank
la
of the
heavy
syndicate
belt et
member
donne-nous la
increases the
magie
amount
d'or.
of currency provided, the quality of the pre-generated items, and the time allowed to craft your item. Aside from the crafting sprees, there are other new options too. If you love gambling for currency, how about you try opening Varici's
Attends, il est
Emperor's
passé vite
Luck
sur la close belt
chests.
là.
These work just like the Emperor's Luck Divination card and provide full stacks of currency. If you're lucky enough, unlike me, you could end up with a whole lot of divines.
Stylé ça en vrai.
Betrayal is a good source of veiled items. Veiled items have some important quality of life improvements in this expansion too. All of the crafting bench options normally granted by unveiling items
Ouais,
are
tu les
instead
trouves,
now moved to the core game,
Tu
so
trouves
you
devant les
don't
boss.
need to run Betrayal to unlock them.
Ça c'est trop
They
trop
are
bien.
instead found at the entrances
Ouais,
to boss rooms and in-game
ouais,
modes.
ça c'est trop bien.
On top of that, you no longer need to speak to Jun to unveil items.
Ah mais ça
You
c'est
can just
vraiment
right-click them,
c'est
or the equivalent on gamepad, and
C'est un
select
truc à
which veiled
s'arracher la bite,
modifier
hein.
you want to unveil.
Par contre, il a un
Overall,
build Yoke of
Betrayal is
Suffering.
now much more
Il y a un truc,
streamlined
hein.
and more
Il y a un
rewarding.
truc, hein. Peut-être c'est beau build.
Happy
hein.
interrogations.
Shut up!
Now, before we get into our quality of life
Oh,
additions,
putain.
let's quickly talk about some
Allez.
character balance.
Allez, Slayer ça
We will
dégage.
be doing our regular character balance changes,
Ça
where
t'aide.
we are bringing outliers in line to help evolve the meta, but we are also focusing our attention on buffing some specific things.
Genre
This
archer.
includes spellcasting supports that specifically enhance self-casting builds, channeled spells,
Oh, merci.
adding new options to the Guardian, Berserker, Elementalist, Saboteur, and Champion Ascendancy classes,
Oh,
which
merci.
include some favorites from some of the alternate classes from Legacy of Frisia, and buffing a whole bunch of transfigured gems that never really hit the mark. Combined with the new
Attends,
endgame
t'as oublié le détail, t'as oublié le
crafting,
détail.
improved betrayal crafting options, rune graphs for the
Frérot.
passive tree, new pinnacle unique items, new modifiers and Trathan gems from the mercenaries, and of course the mercenaries themselves to act as an extension to your character, it's safe to say there's a lot of new character options and builds to think about. Instead of delving into all of these in more detail, we figured we'd just let you absorb them through the patch notes so you can do it at your own pace. In the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've also added a lot of the quality of life features that we know you've all been asking for. A lot of these have already been posted, but let's take a look now in case you missed any. You can now pause the game at any time by pressing escape to open the menu, or
Ça, c'est cool,
by
ça.
opening any full screen interface, like the passive tree. You'll also be
Oh,
paused if
nouvelle
any
note,
lag is
nouvelle note.
detected, or if you disconnect.
Nouvelle note
It's worth
dans
noting
le
that in
passif.
certain pinnacle arenas, a debuff will be applied to you that prevents you from pausing. We're also
Et tu
making
perds
a
pas d'XP
change
aussi
to
dans les
how
nouvelles
you
arènes.
use currency items on strongboxes and monsters imprisoned in essences. Based on the currency in your inventory and the state of the strongbox, these buttons will appear. Valuable currency like divine orbs have been excluded from this as it would often be wasteful to use in this context. The same applies to essences with the remnant of corruption currency. Orbs of Horizon have been updated. They can now reroll your Elder and Conqueror Guardian maps. Doing so will reroll the base map and the Guardian
ça.
of that map. The map device now has a small additional inventory. This is particularly useful if you're rolling many maps to run in sequence,
Ça, c'est
or if you want to use
semi-useful.
varying amounts of scarabs or other map fragments. During breach encounters, all the splinters will be automatically collected and dropped at the end of the breach.
Ça, c'est le plus gros banger qu'ils aient
On
pu faire.
gamepads, we have separated the targeting of monsters and non-monsters, so you are able to target them independently. This removes a bunch of frustration when you are trying to interact with objects in the world and monsters are nearby.
Je savais même pas que
You
tu
no
pouvais
longer
jouer
have to kill all of them first.
à PoE
Vendor
sur,
windows will
sur
now
iPad,
remember
genre.
your last search. This
Ça,
is
c'est banger
remembered
aussi.
until you log out and is remembered on a per NPC basis.
Ce jeu est gratuit, oui.
The amount of characters you can type in the search field has also been increased. When using currency items, after right-clicking them, it will highlight all other items which that currency can be used on. There are many other quality of life improvements, so keep an eye on the patch notes after this livestream concludes. Alongside the launch of Secrets
donc
of
faut
the
attendre la fin
Atlas,
du stream,
we are
pour le
hosting a
patch notes.
competitive event where players will race to be the first to kill the new pinnacle bosses. The event will take place in the hardcore, solo self-found Mercenaries of Trathis League. We have some interesting prizes in store for the winners. Keep an eye on the news
Okay,
of the lead up to
nouvelle-
launch
nouvelle-
for more
nouveau
details
speedrun.
about how the event will work and what its prizes are. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new League supporter
OMG.
packs.
Quel pack je vais acheter?
Today, we're launching two new series of supporter packs, the Frisian Magistrate and Crypt Keeper packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions.
J'ai mis 300
As
balles de
always,
périphérique,
the
je suis plus à ça
microtransactions
près.
in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Frisian Magistrate series of supporter packs contains
pas.
6 exclusive microtransactions. The Frisian Magistrate character effect will bind your character in thorny vines and roses. You can select which parts of the character you want to have covered, either your entire body, your lower body, or your upper body. As you approach
J'aime pas.
waypoints, it will emit leaves and golden petals towards it. When activating the waypoint, it will create a burst around you. Envelop your weapon in thorny vines and golden flora with the Frisian Magistrate weapon effect.
Non, j'aime pas non plus.
Your weapon will also create a trail to match as you swing, and even comes with its own hit effect when slaying
Ben
enemies.
non, je veux pas.
You
M'intéresse
are
pas.
the law.
Je suis pas là pour
while
faire du
wearing the
jardinage, moi, je suis là
armor
pour
of the
abattre.
Powerful Frisian Grand Magistrate.
Ah, j'aime pas non
The
plus.
Spider Blossom pet activates its defense mechanism, disguising it as an elegant flower
Ok,
when
ça,
near
c'est
rare
rigolo.
or unique enemies.
Ok, ça c'est memes.
The Frisian Imperial Magistrate back attachment comes in 2 forms.
Ok, ça on aime, ça on
Equip
aime.
either the Tombstone
Non,
variant, which will
ça,
leave
c'est-
tombstones in your honor when you meet your demise,
Aura,
Equip
aura.
the cape variant to cause the corpses of slain enemies to become enveloped in rose-thorn vines and blossom with golden flowers. Keep track of how well,
Ça, c'est pas mal.
or poorly, your ultimatums with the Trial Master have gone with the Trials of Chaos hideout decoration.
Ça c'est un peu osef.
It will keep track of the total number of waves completed, the total number of ultimatums succeeded, or even failed. On top of that, it will track the total number of times you've defeated the Trial Master himself. The Crypt Keeper Pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
Ok, là je suis
With the
intéressé,
Crypt
là je suis
Keeper
intéressé.
finisher effect, death itself will tear through into the realm of the living and steal the soul of slain unique enemies. The Crypt Keeper portal effect creates a gateway for lost souls to pass through.
Ah, je suis pas trop fan.
Become the true master of the undead by wearing the hallowed Crypt Keeper armor set. It
Ah, je suis
comes
pas
with a
trop
more
fan, ouais.
armored helmet variant and a creepy mask with a spectral hood.
Ouais, c'est pas mon
Looking
style.
to have some fun during idle time in your hideout? The Burrowing Bramble Bash hideout decoration
No.
will test your reaction speed as you try to whack as many Devourer heads as possible in the shortest time. It also comes with
Ah,
a
juste tu joues
scoreboard,
Spark,
so you
en
can
fait.
try to set new records to show off to your friends, or just visitors coming to trade. Equip yourself with the Ghostly Dead as you ride the line between the living and the dead with the Sacred Crypt Keeper back attachment. The Sacred Archives map device resembles a magical library with the works of scholars that come to life when you
Ça par
open a
contre
map.
c'est phénoménal.
This map
Très,
device
très stylé.
tracks how many of each core league you've completed in in-game maps.
Oh, ça par contre ça a vraiment
These
du
packs are
flow.
now available for purchase on both PC and console, and will remain so during Path of Exile, Mercenaries of Trathus. Additionally, any microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 2.
Oh là 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 là.
Meanwhile, the Paladin and Penance packs leave the store forever at the launch of the Mercenaries of Trathus League, so now's your last chance to purchase them. Additionally, the Dawn of the Hunt mystery box will be made available for Path of Exile 1. If you have already unlocked any microtransactions from this box in Path of Exile 2, you will of course immediately have access to them in Path of Exile 1. Thank you so much for your
Ouais, je sais pas,
ongoing
y a pas de
support.
skin qui m'intéresse en vrai.
We're just about to start
Non?
the Q&A with Ziggy D.
Je suis un hater
Afterwards,
ou...
we'll post the full patch notes for Path of Exile, Secrets of the Atlas.
Ah, faut qu'on attende
With
la fin
release
de
at the end
l'interview.
of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information.
Ah. Alors, un autre rôle de ce que j'ai envie de faire, c'est-à-dire du Magic Find et de la suroptie et du contenu ultra late game, ça me va. Notre rôle, ça me va. Pour ce que je veux faire, ça me va. Je vois la dimension où la ligue est bien. Mais par contre, je vais pas mentir que le côté où tu dois farm des maps que t'as pas envie de farm, ça va vieillir très mal. Ça va durer 2 jours et après ça sera ultra casse-couille. Le truc des memories est garbage. C'est le seul truc que... C'est vraiment garbage. De tous les trucs que j'ai vus, c'est garbage. De toute façon, chat, je vais pas regarder le reste de l'interview. Je vous laisse aller checker.